Vista Gold has spent years advancing its Mount Todd project in Australia's Northern Territory. Now, with fresh capital in the Treasury, permit modifications underway, and a development team being assembled on the ground, investors are watching closely to see whether the project is taking its next major step forward. Well, joining me now is Vista Gold President and CEO Fred Earnest. Fred, thanks once again for chatting to us.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Well, look, Fred, when we last spoke, Mount Todd was largely a feasibility story. I mean, today we're talking about permits, financing, and building a development team. Are you starting to feel like this is becoming more an execution story now?
Oh, it's definitely an execution story now. Everything that we're doing is aimed toward that ultimate goal of executing on the development strategy for Mount Todd.
Yeah. And look, the new study moved to a smaller 15,000 tonne per day operation. What did that change unlock for the project? Talk to me about that.
Well, certainly one of the biggest changes is the cost of the project. The capital cost of the project has decreased from just a little over $1 billion in 2024 to $425 million estimated last August. That's one factor, and with that smaller initial capex, obviously the project becomes much more financeable. Second of all, just the smaller size, the smaller scale. The project is simpler to construct. It's not as large. We're not dealing with the same size equipment, and then the fundamental changes that we've made in the project, and bringing in contract mining into the mix, and accepting some changes like a fly-in, fly-out workforce. All of these things have resulted in a project that we think is maybe the best way to describe it. It's more Australian, but it's certainly easier to finance and easier to build and get into operation.
Yeah, you speak about finance. I mean, you've got more than $50 million in the Treasury. What's the biggest milestone investors should be watching for over the next 12 months when you consider that?
Well, certainly, you mentioned permitting, and there's really three things that we're working on right now, and we've been using the acronym PPE, and it's not personal protection equipment. It's permitting, people, and engineering. And certainly, as we've already submitted several of the permit modification applications, we believe that the permitting is going to advance in steps and stages with different authorizations over the next 12 months. I think that we'll see probably all but one of the major permit authorizations come in, and that last permit authorization is expected to be sometime in the middle of 2027. On the people side, we've already hired a number of key people already this year. We have a search right now that's ongoing for a managing director, and I'm very excited with the progress that's being made on that search. And this just fits in with, we've always said we would not manage the development of Mount Todd from Denver, and so we're building a team in Australia. And if we get the person that ultimately we want, it'll be a person that the industry and the investment community in Australia will recognize as someone who's built and developed and delivered construction projects and built new mines in Australia. So very excited about that. Those will be some milestones to watch for, kind of spread out over the coming months and through the next 12 months.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about people, Fred, because putting that team and building a development team in Australia is going to be a very important one. I mean, why was now the right time to put those people in place? I mean, this is a crucial thing in the entire project, isn't it?
Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, we can do a lot of engineering, we can do a lot of permitting, but at the end of the day, people are the most important part of any operation. And in order to advance the project, in order to be able to get the financing that we need, in order to be able to make the decisions that will ultimately affect the efficiency with which we're able to build the project, people are the key. And so this is absolutely the right time to be adding people to our team. And once we have the managing director on board, who will be the head of our organization in Australia, we will begin a more serious recruiting effort, because I have the belief that this team that we're building should be the managing director's team. And I want him or her to have the final say on some of these key people like project director and construction manager and, the person that's the head of finance, and some of the other positions that will follow afterwards. This needs to be the managing director's team to build this project.
You've talked a lot in the past about potential joint venture opportunities. Are you seeing more interest now that Mt Todd has a clearer development path? What's going on that front?
Well, we're not out talking, seeking a joint venture partner or a transaction. We're right now, our priority is to build the project. We're being very true to what we've said in the past, and that is simply that if along this journey an opportunity presents itself that represents better value, less risk for shareholders, it will be seriously considered by the board. But right now, our focus is to build the team and to advance the project, ultimately to make a definitive investment decision and to build the project. And sometimes along that path, we see other companies show up that decide that we're serious about it, and things happen. But we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. Fred, I want to go a few steps back here and just raise the curtain once again. I mean, what exactly is happening at Mt Todd? What are we doing there?
Well, right now we have, this is the third leg of that the PPE, if we could use that analogy, and that's the engineering. We early this year finished the drilling to obtain core for a metallurgical testing program. That program is in progress. We expect it'll be finished the end of September. Ultimately, that's an optimization study. We're not changing the flow sheet, but we are looking to refine and our sizing, decide whether we're going to grind to 35 microns or 40 or maybe 50 microns. That information will be used to size the equipment for the mills. We've also have a drill on site right now that's part of the geotechnical investigation that we're undertaking, with the hopes that we'll be able to stand the west pit wall back up to something close to what it was in the previous studies. There's about 70 million tons of waste at play here that we're hoping to remove from the current mine plan. There's project execution planning going on right now. There's engineering and support of permitting. And there's a lot of, in addition to optimization, we're starting some of the front end engineering and design in an effort to be in a better position to commence detailed engineering and design in the year. Yeah. So there's a lot of activity that's going on in support of this project execution work that's slowly happening in the background.
Yeah. And as I wrap up, the single or maybe a couple of major important points that an investor looking at this project right now and thinking about it, what would that be? What are the standout points?
Well, certainly, permitting. We expect that we'll have one of the first authorizations in the next month or two. That will be, that'll be a first key step, and then there will be other modification authorizations that follow on through the remainder of the year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, an announcement coming out with regards to the appointment of a managing director, and we hope that person has the name recognition that will excite the markets and help them understand that we are very serious about financing and building Mt Todd on a standalone basis.
Yep. Well, look, it does sound promising indeed, and we'll follow that. Vista Gold President and CEO Fred Earnest, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you. It's always good to be with you.